Hello Internet World, Johnny R here, and this is Bloons Tower Defense 6. Today we're going to be talking about the primary towers. Now we have here your standard Dart Monkey. They're good for making straight line attacks, and they are good in a wide variety of roles. Their top tiers specializes in piercing and the destruction of ceramics and the like. The center tier here mostly focuses on faster fire rate, being able to fire more darts, and eventually upgrading to temporary super monkeys, so they can shoot like crazy fast, and can convert other dart monkeys around them to do the same. The third tier here specializes in long range and piercing ability, better piercing ability alongside this, with a crossbow, with one of the better abilities to be able to do critical attacks and to be able to do significantly more damage over time. One of the best positions for the Dart Monkey would be at the end of the long straightaways to maximize their projectile efficiency so they can hit the most balloons possible. As demonstrated here on round 40. When working together, they can make quick work of most balloon types. However, they're not the best at everything, is the thing. So use them in conjunction with the other towers and you should be good. Next up we have the Boomerang Monkey. They generally have pretty good range, good pierce ability, and relatively fast rate of fire. They fire at a sort of an angle, so generally want to place them on like corners and best maximize their coverage. You could have them swap hands to best follow the curvature of the map. The first tier abilities mostly focus on piercing, the ability to follow the long lines of balloons, go across the map. It's pretty cool. Second row here mostly focuses on attack speed, which gets better as time goes on. You get the ability to damage MOAB class balloons, and the ability to shoot really, really fast. This is an old ability I remember from BTD6, and it was really awesome. The third tier focuses on throwing further, doing more damage, and then the Kylie Boomerang changes its attack type from the curve that I just showed you to a straight line attack. And finally, the MOAB Press sometimes pushes back MOABs, which is really cool. As shown here, the Boomerang towers can be really, really powerful. You can start work of this MOAB like it's not. However, a big disadvantage, if you may have not have noticed, is the fact that they cannot deal with camo. With the very, very rare exception of this ability here, the Glade Lord. The Whirling Blades will be able to hit the camos just fine, but, chaos will. But the boomerangs are extremely powerful, so they are definitely worth it. Next up we have the Bomb Tower. Awesome for hitting lead balloons and busting up large groups of them. The top tier of the bombs focuses on damage and covering larger area and the ability to stun balloons, which is really awesome. The center tier focuses on faster attack speed and range, and probably the most important ability that I personally love, the ability to destroy MOABs, which is really awesome. And finally, the third tier focuses on range, getting the ability to explode into frags, which hits a whole bunch of balloons, including black balloons, and the ability to break into clusters and hit even more AoE damage. They're great. As demonstrated here, they do so much damage. MOABs don't stand a chance. And when they break up, little subsequent explosions just rip the crowds apart. However, as you may have noticed, they lack anti-camo. Big problem there. from the camo balloons. Oh no! And also, a more appropriate setup would be more like this, where the MOAB Mauler's in front, where it'll hit the MOAB first, and then the two supporting towers can deal with the add-ons, such as this. See, it didn't progress as far this time. Positioning is key when it comes to these. It's best to try to cover as much of the track as possible to deal the most of damage. Next up here we have the tack shooter. Having the ability to fire 8 different directions and in a radial type position makes it very short range, but able to deal a lot of damage quickly around corners. Its top tiers focus on faster shooting and more damage. Its center tier focuses on better range and pierce with these giant blade shooters here. And the third tier focuses on more ammunition coming out all at once. I personally love the tack zone as it fires out tacks like crazy. And as I demonstrate here, they cause so much damage around the corners. That's when they're best place. Can you guess what their major disadvantage is? Yeah. So yeah, you'll definitely need some sort of camo detection. I wonder who can provide that. Which brings us up to the Ice Tower, capable of freezing balloons in their tracks, in a radial pattern similar to the Tack Tower. Their top tier upgrades include Permafrost, which slows the balloons down even after thawing. Cold Snap allow them to freeze lead and camo balloons, which is really awesome. Ice Shards, which will cause the balloons to explode when they're frozen, which causes even more damage. It's crazy. And Embrittlement, which causes the balloons when they're frozen to take more damage and lose their camo properties, which is awesome because you don't get too many towers that can deal with camo. Second row of abilities focuses on enhanced freezing, deep freezing, and an Arctic Wind AoE ability. And what that means is it attacks faster, freezes for longer, freezes through 2 layers of balloon, and creates an AoE that freezes everything around it, which is pretty awesome. The third tier of abilities focuses on having a larger radius, can refreeze already frozen balloons, which is pretty awesome, it keeps them still. Then the third ability is a Cryo Cannon, which changes it from a radial attack to a straight line attack. Basically a little snowball cannon that shoots at the balloons. It's pretty cool. And then you have the Icicles, which basically acts like ice shards, but yeah, except when balloons crash into them, they deal damage. It's pretty awesome. As you can see here, in most circumstances, the ice towers are pretty good at handling most regular types of balloons. Even of the camo variety. Not much to worry about. However, we tend to struggle with the larger, heavier balloons. Can't see that, but yeah. Only if you heavily invest in them, will they be able to deal with the MOABs also. Similar to the bomb towers, their best positioning is usually around wherever they can cover the most area to maximize their effectiveness. And last but certainly not least is the Glue Gunner Tower, capable of spraying glue onto balloons and slowing them down, and causing a bunch of different nasty side effects. The top tier focuses on soaking through multiple layers of balloon, turning it into corrosive damage every few seconds, which is pretty cool, making the corrosive stronger, even stronger, and then finally the strongest, and it just burns through everything. It's a high damage dealer over time. The second tier focuses on covering more balloons all at once. Coats 2 layers, then up to 6, and then shoots it 3 times as fast, so it just... And then Glue Strike, which covers all the balloons on screen, and makes them take more damage from all sources, which is really, really awesome when used in conjunction with like the ice tower, for example. The third tier, because it lasts much longer, it slows them down even more. And more importantly, the stronger ones can now glue MOABs, causing them to slow down, which combined with other towers can be really, really nasty in the long run. And probably my most favorite ability is Relentless Glue. So whenever the balloons are covered in glue and then they popped, they leave the glue on the track, which causes other balloons to crash into it, which causes them to debuff, and so on and so on and so on. It's really cool. They're probably one of my favorite towers of all time. Similar to the ice towers, they're actually quite good at handling most regular balloon types. Look at that. And even MOABs. Whoops. Not quite, but that was a damn good job. However, unlike the ice towers, they're actually also capable of dealing with MOABs with relative ease, as seen here. Takes them a while, but they get the job done. Some of their favorite positions, obviously, is the straight line shooters, generally speaking, but can cover quite a wide area on their own. They're pretty strong. And that basically wraps it up for the primaries. I hope they taught you a little something and, you know, opened up your strategies and whatnot. This is Johnny R. signing off for the night. Good night, everyone.